This is a tutorial to do a split hem in a jersey top. If you'd like to see a full sew along for this Mandy Boat tee, there will be a link in the description box below. But for now, let's get on with the split hem tutorial. Get your t-shirt to the point where you're going to be pinning your side seams together, and then you need to decide where you want your split to go up to. For this particular example, I've picked this stripe here. For reference, that is 9.5 centimeters up from the bottom of the front of my top. I have a high-low hem in this particular one. And what I like to do is get 2 pins and create a cross at the point where I'm going to be starting my sewing so that I know exactly where to start the sewing. And then that is exactly what you're going to be doing next. Take it over to the sewing machine, and I would just do this on the regular sewing machine rather than the overlocker. I have overlocked the edges just for a nice finish, but you don't need to do this, and I use a lightning stitch for such a thing. Now you're going to take this over to the ironing board and you're going to iron open your seams. I actually use a sleeve press for this. I find it a bit easier, but if you don't have one, it doesn't matter, just a normal ironing board is fine. Once you get down to the start of the split, which is right there, continue to iron down the sides of your t-shirt and use a seam gauge just to keep the consistent distance that the seam has been already pressed open. This is actually essentially pressing down the hem of the split. Now just continue by pinning the pressed hem down and get to the actual hem of the garment, and we're going to fold this over. You could mitre it, but that's a bit tricky, so just folding it over like that, ensuring that any thread tails are tucked away. Measure to make sure that the allowance you folded over is corresponding to the hem allowance of the pattern that you're making, and then iron it and press it in place. Just make sure that the corner you've turned over also doesn't stick over the edge of the garment as well. And then go ahead and iron and pin the rest of your hem in place, and treat the other split hem in the same manner as you did the first one. And then you'll see that we now have the front and the back all pinned in place. That's the split hem there, all the way around the front and down the back as well. And then we're going to go ahead and sew it. So start sewing about 1 centimeter up from the split. I'm sewing from the inside just to make it easier to see, and you're going to sew approximately 3/8 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric, but it's depending on yourself where you would like to position this, and then just start sewing down towards the corner. As you approach the corner, stop about 3/8 of an inch from the bottom and put your needle down, lift your presser foot, pivot your fabric, put your presser foot down again, and start sewing your hem. Continue sewing the hem until you reach the next corner. And then we're going to treat this corner just as we did the previous one. So once we get about 3/8 of an inch from the edge, we're going to put the needle down, going to lift the presser foot, pivot the fabric, put the presser foot down again, and start sewing up this side of the split. So all the way up to about 1 centimeter above the end of the split, and again, more pivoting. At the top of the split, we're going to sew a straight line across about 1 centimeter, 3/8 of an inch across, and then again put your needle down, lift your presser foot, pivot your fabric and presser foot down again, and then we're now going to sew down the other side of the split. Continue sewing the hem in the same way all the way around the garment, and then you end up with a lovely split hem like this. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. There'll be more on the way. Please do like and subscribe if you did enjoy it.